up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get love.
Bitcoin will change how 1 billion people work, and Bitcoin will change how companies produce goods and services. Good day, I'm Rogelio Reyna, co-founder and CEO of Binde. We develop business-to-business solution in manufacturing. And I'm here to discuss with you about the implications of Bitcoin in Industry 4.0 applications, and also the plethora of opportunities out there for developers. So this is the agenda that we will be discussing today. First of all, we will explain our journey from Ethereum to EOS to Bitcoin, and later we will be reviewing the concept of Industry 4.0. We will be discussing about the opportunities for developers, and we will be wrapping up with some ongoing projects that we have. But before starting, I'd like to get some demographics on here. Please raise your hands. Who of you have ever heard the concept Industry 4.0? Okay. Who of you have ever written a smart contract or developed a blockchain application? Okay, thank you. Good. This is our journey going from Ethereum to EOS to Bitcoin. And I won't get into much details except mention a couple of key points here. Developing applications in Ethereum is easy because of the toolchain. However, it has one major drawback, which is the concept of gas for smart contracts. You know, when you measure your computational power in gas, what you will get is a market for gas. I mean, you have to spread the entire computational activity of Ethereum into the smart contracts or the users that are willing to exercise a smart contract. So essentially creating a gas market. But since the gas is pegged to Ether, you're basing your gas market into the Ether market. So you have two markets compound, which multiply each other. So if you have a high volatility in Ethereum, and I believe that we can all agree that Ethereum has high volatility, and you have a high volatility on gas due to scalability issues, what happens with your fees? You have a higher volatility than any of all those markets, right? So that's simply a no-go for business-to-business applications, right? As an example, one of the early proof of concept that we developed last year, it was a very simple smart contract. When we show it to one customer in a particular day, it cost us the deployment and all the exercising of the functions around $30 or $35. The next couple of weeks, when we showcased it to another customer, it cost us over $50, right? How much do you need to protect your cost structure in the business model in order to be able to comply with such variance of fees? That's simply no go. So we right up front knew that Ethereum was not right for us. And I'm not even talking about the absolute or of the increased cost of the fees, just the variance of the fees. Okay. Regarding EOS, we had high hopes in terms of the launch of mainnet of EOS. But if you know EOS, you knew what are the problems that they had in launching the mainnet and the need for revamping their constitution to Constitution 2.0, right? So if you're willing to develop business-to-business application, you're essentially promising your customers that you will have immutability, an immutable ledger. How can you promise immutability when you depend on the constitution of block producers, right? So there are some concepts in EOS that are worth working on, but we believe that once we understood that value is information, and there is some information that is valuable to be protected, similar as value, as cash, then we decided that we needed to go with the most secure network, right? And that's Bitcoin. I'm not going to say Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SB or just Bitcoin, a 0.1 version of Bitcoin. Okay, so that's what we found as the long-term value transfer vehicle for our applications. I totally second what James Balding mentioned earlier that industrial applications or business-to-business applications can start using the Bitcoin network as a ledger initially before we can start using the value transfer as a value transfer vehicle. So that's what we are building now. Okay. So regarding the concept of Industry 4.0 or 5.0 or X.0, right? Basically, since not many of you know what Industry 4.0 is, I will try to explain it in plain terms. It's basically a concept that was coined in 2011 Hanover Fest, in which basically some engineers, some German engineers, came up with a term to discuss what would be the implications of merging together all these technologies that you are seeing there into the supply chain and manufacturing and the entire business world, right? So I would say that Industry 4.0 promise has not been completely delivered. There are some very good projects. There are very, very bright people working on that. However, it has not transformed the world into a production of mass customized devices. It has not released us from the burden of work. It has not increased the amount of automation across economic units. So the missing link in Industry 4.0, we believe, is Bitcoin, right? Not just for the internal characteristic or the internal automation of internal processes, but also for the interactions between processes of economic units, or when you need external auditability. Not all applications are suitable at this moment to be executed on Bitcoin, but there are some that actually do. And there are plenty of opportunities for those brave of you that can go and grasp them. Okay, that promise of Industry 4.0 is very vague and it's high level. So I will try to focus on two particular dimensions of the promise of Industry 4.0 and try to keep it at ground level. Those two dimensions are the return of engineering and return on production. Return on engineering actually has to do with the profits and costs associated with creating a new product. When you create a new product, you have to assemble a certain team that will define the requirements, will take the market requirements document, it will generate a product requirements document, it will create a system architecture, high-level design, low-level design, and actually implement the actual product. But they also need to develop an assembly line, a production line that will build these products. So the promise of Industry 4.0 is that when you will sell a very small amount of these products, you will also be reducing the overall cost of the engineering phase of the product, of the creation of the product. How is that possible? Basically, because shortening the product development process and a virtual engineering of complete value chains. So what does that mean? That means that they will be using models to simulate the entire production line so it can be quicker to define a new product. We will be reusing models and components from other products in order to build brand new products, right? So that's how you can reduce the overall cost of engineering. On the other side, we have the return on production, which has to do with the profits and costs associated with producing X amount of products. So in terms of production, when we produce and sell a small amount of products, there's not much of a difference in the paradigm of Industry 4.0 versus the actual current paradigm, right? However, when we scale production to mass-produce devices, to mass-produce products, that's when the promise of Industry 4.0 becomes relevant. It will make it more productive, the entire process, so that you can reduce the costs, right? By means of having a complete feedback between the production line and engineering team, right? so they can come together and improve the product and the process that actually builds the product. So how is that performed? By this feedback loop that is exemplified by the better performing than engineered dimension of it, and by having revolutionary short value chains. This is one thing that Bitcoin can excel at. There are, in many companies, there are certain processes that they do really good. They are state-of-the-art in the worldwide. But there are a lot of processes that are not state-of-the-art. And since they are a single company, they need to carry that burden. What happens if you can leverage the state-of-the-art process of another company with the state-of-the-art process of your company and merge it together to create a virtual value chain? That's something that is possible using Bitcoin. Okay, so some of the opportunities that we have identified, well, this is a part of a paper, has to do with these aspects. I will discuss about internal processes optimization, which are essentially, we do not recommend to actually implement internal processes automation using Bitcoin unless you need external auditability or you need them to be communicated and exchanged with external factors. One of the projects that we're currently working on in the pharmaceutical industry is traceability of customized products. They basically build DNA, synthetic DNA, and we need to trace it from PO to shipping number to make sure that nothing gets, I mean, the people that actually requested a certain sequence of DNA do not get another sequence of DNA. But not only that, but also access to the quality files measured at the quality gate of the process. So that's basically what we're currently working on. So I will just skip to this. As a conclusion, a stable foundation is mandatory for building business-to-business applications, and that means Bitcoin. Bitcoin is key to reaching the promise of Industry 4.0, and this will change how people engage in work and how companies build products and services. Thank you very much.